did an amazing job getting those scores to us really quick.
Yes, I was congratulating Thierry on that, and he said that was their aim. But of course, they had the luxury of having the dynamic afterwards, which gave them some time to get the scores out. Now they'll be trying to score the N2, and then we go straight into the N1. And really, they haven't got a break, these guys. They've got 5 minutes between rounds, so it's just going to be a big slog. I hope they can get the scores out quickly.
All right.
So they have got.
Have you got any scores coming through yet?
Yes, as we go into the round 2 of the N2, then we can see they've scored. Nice one, judges. They've scored all but 2 of the teams. And at the moment in first place is Darwings with 14 points.
Yeah.
Then One Shot with 13 and Fly Pinot with 12. That said, Ericart Academy, they look fast, and Les Improvers are both yet to be scored, so I think we could see them ending up at the top of the scoreboard there. But nice one, judges, getting that out.
Well, if you just joined us, a very good morning. Welcome to Lille. Here in France, it's Wimby, the Wimby Tunnel, and it's a day 2 of the French Indoor Skydiving Championships. We started off last night at 7 p.m. and just less than 2.5 hours of action with 3 rounds of 8-way and 3 rounds of dynamic 2-way. This morning it started 8:30 with the first round of the AA category, the N2 category here in the tunnel, and here we are now with round 2. My name is Rigantello. I'm here with competitor from 4-way, 8-way, 16-way and big-way load organizer and editor and instigator of skydivemag.com, Leslie Gale. Very good morning, Leslie.
Good morning, world.
Are you managing to do anything on the skydivemag.com during these days, or your time's blocked out, no?
My time is blocked out. Of course, we always have our Safety Sunday. We always put a safety article up on Sunday, so that's still going to go up. I've got a couple of things that I scheduled ahead of time, but once I'm here, I just get absorbed in the competition. You know, when we're not commentating, we're talking to competitors, finding out all the gossip, seeing what's going on. So, les poissons, vive la chute. Do their round 2. So the puzzle is 4QO.
So
that's the 4,
yeah.
monopod. We're seeing the single person go around the outside of the 3-way. There we've got the Q, that's the phalanx, and there that's the O, the satellite, and then they're back to the monopod, the 4.
So when it's a number, it's generally breaking down into 2 separate pieces with a rotation involved. And when it's a letter, it's one individual shape with a point scored for that. And Leslie, you can talk us through those 2 separate components now. So here comes the next team.
We'll do it with the next team.
So we start off with number 4, and this is a bit where you get the 3-way and the 1-way, the solo and the 3-way doing their move, and these 2 letters, the Q and the O, these 2 separate individual shapes.
So the Q is a phalanx, looks a bit like a zigzag, and the O is a satellite.
Looks like a box.
So here comes that starting off with the 4, then the person goes round the 3-way and redocks. And you'll see when the more experienced teams do this, they'll make it a much more dynamic move. The point, which is the person in white there, with the more experienced team, is going to go down underneath the 3-way and back up, and it'll happen in a heartbeat. But of course, these guys aren't so experienced. The Beach Brothers, we could call it, les Frères de la Côte, the brothers by the beach, like the coast. They're not so experienced, so they're just taking their time with it and doing it more or less on the level, because if you go down, you've got to come back up again, which can be challenging. So there they go with the 4. Then they're going to build, they're going to get out of the tunnel. So next up we have Skolem Korba. Now this is quite an old and bold team. We've got Joël, Thierry and Patrick, and I'm not going to mention their ages, but shall we say they're around the retirement age. And Guillaume with 30, who's 31. They got 3 hours flying together in Lyon And this is a fun team. I know Joelle quite well. She's the point girl going round there. On the 4, she's just a little bundle of fun. Great. Used to be style and accuracy champion for France many years ago, and just been with her on women's world records of all types. And she's just a lovely vibe skydiver. One of these people that just makes the drop zone a happier place. So they'll be happy with that. They're not looking to set the world on fire, Skolem Korbas. They just want to be here and be part of this great competition. So next we have 505 left. Fly Pinot.
6 rounds of 4-way for you this morning in the N2 and in the N1. And that's going to take us through till about 12:30. 12:36 is on the schedule. Then we've got an hour break, and then we'll be back with the dynamic 2-way and the 8-way. That's the day's program. That's all set for you here at Wimby.
So here you can see they've got the Q, then they build the O. Now look at this 4. See how far he goes down and then comes back up again. Very different picture to what we saw from the other teams. He's doing a very nice job of that. You've got to sort of find the hole, let the legs go past, find the hole and then come back up again. If you get that wrong, you can clash with the legs and it can be a bit of a fracas. But yes, very consistent block move there on the 4. And you see the different pace of the jump, the random, the random move is kind of calm, the Q to the O, and then we get up that bit of a boogie move for the 4 and then reset going back to the Q and the O.
Next up, team 506, L and U DGA. This block number 4
So
is a
him,
good
her and them, is that? My French is not what it could be. And this is an indoor and an outdoor team. They won silver medals in this category. They got about 5 hours of flying together. They've been together a couple of years and they've done 50 jumps together. So 5 hours of flying, that's equivalent to about 300 jumps. So 6 times as much time together indoors as outdoors. So who have we got next? We have One Shot. Do you think they're called that because they have one go at the round or because they have a shot before each meet?
In the air now here with their second flight, round 2 of the competition. In this beautiful big tunnel in northwest France.
And this is the Italian team, One Shot. And again, they look to me like they could do with a little bit more airspeed. They're all flying a little bit knees down.
Flying at 58.5% currently.
Yeah, if I was their coach, I would whack the speed up a bit and put a little bit of weight on point, and I think that would help them out. If I was their coach, listen to me. I think maybe I should just leave the Wemby guys to do their job, though.
Team 47 LCA is next.
So this is the one with Patrick, who's 70, and Jessica, Eva, and Nicholas on 34 and 36.
Oh, I actually know Patrick. I've jumped with him. He jumped on my group when I was load organising in Spain. But I saw his face then as he came around the corner.
And their goals are quite simply not to be last. I asked them to describe their team in 3 words. They said, young. Never say that Patrick is old. Young, mixed and motivated. It's a nice little combination there. And you can see they haven't got the greatest sort of technique level in the world, but they're just taking it time, having good communication, and making it happen.
Yeah, it's not bad four-way, you know, for people getting in a tunnel and flying together. I've seen a lot worse. Not bad at
Done
all.
a lot worse.
I'm impressed, 70 years of age, entering the national championships. What an inspiration for a lot of people watching back home.
So now we have another mouthful of a name, Wachura Noyen Aspumomesh.
You did very well with that, Leslie, well done.
I'm not so sure they would have thought so. These guys have 8 hours flying together, and they want to do a 15 average at the competition. Of course, tunnels change the average because you don't have that first third of the skydive when you're not at full power, which makes a big difference. So your averages generally are going to be in the tunnel at probably 20% higher at least than you would expect outdoors, and it's always a good feel-good factor. You know it's just a number, but it does make you feel good.
Yes, it does. So 2 teams from the Aerocart Academy, one in this AA category, N2, and one in the top category in the N1, the A.
Yes, this is the more junior team. You can see that they're younger. But again, these were flying like kids, but they now have just a more professional feel about them.
If you look
looking less gawky,
if you look at
really nice keys, sorry.
Yeah, the point on the 4,
Yes.
really using that going down technique there as he makes his move.
Isn't he? And the grips, I used to find this team would hang around a lot on grips, like, yes, we've got it, look, you know, but they're just touching the point guy at the beginning, and then it's just going to touch him on the end and out. Great communication with the team. And that's everyone on the team being aware that as soon as outside center just touches point there, then they drop. Yeah, big thumbs up. Nice round from them and a bit of applause from the crowd, appreciating the skills of these young people.
Yeah, good stuff there. Nice talent. Very fortunate here in this situation. Our location where we are in the studio just raised up a little bit right by the side of the tunnel. We're getting the best of both worlds. We can see the monitor and the actual live action too. It's great, Leslie.
Our job doesn't suck.
Right. Tobias,
nice cue. You see the good shot from overhead, showing the 4 there, going round and redocking. Little bit of confusion going back to the Q. Good solid build on the O. And we nearly had a drop on the back there. Got a bit of a booty grip. I think that might have cost him a little bit of a point. And bit of height going to that 4, but that'll be out of time anyway. So we're now into the top 2 of the competition. Let's see if we can refresh the scores.
Yeah, we got the top 5 scores from the first round. Let's just have a look at that now as your system powers through. L'Eprouveuse is 5-1-2 and Darwin's 5-1-3 are the final 2 teams. So the top 5 as it stands after the first round?
Well, we still have Les Improvers Wemby, who have yet to be scored. I believe they're getting into the tunnel now, are they?
They are, yeah, they're flying right now.
Okay, so they're actually not a threat. So I can tell you that in 5th position after round 1 are Wachura Noyen Aspumo Barge with 10 points, then the Fly Pinot with 12 points, One Shot with 13 points, Darwings with 14, and Aerocart Academy 3, the youngest team in the competition, are sitting at the top of the scoreboard with 16 points after round 1.
And you'd expect them now to start teasing that gap open as each round goes on and on. So the battle for 2nd and 3rd, 1 point in it. The 4th place, 1 point there as well. So we'll keep an eye on that as it develops. A little story going on there. Next up, leaders.
Next up is Darwins, who are 2nd at the moment. Second, as you say, they're about to start that battle. Are they going to creep back up towards Academy, or are they going to battle with One Shot for the silver and bronze? Let's see how they do in the 2nd round. It's all to play for Darwins. Nice 4, good Q, solid O, back to the 4. You can see they're putting the pace on.
Yeah.
They could be stopping that 4 a little bit earlier. They're taking a bit of momentum into it. He needs to stop now. You see he's just overshooting slightly.
Yeah. So the question is going to be, as we start seeing these next 2 or 3 rounds going, Leslie.
Oh, and they fluffed the catch of the foot. Oh no, this is costing them so much point. They fluffed the catch. And the guys at the back released. I think that might have been a bust.
Yeah.
And it was definitely confusion. So Darwings could be sliding down past 1 shot into out of silver into 3rd or even 4th.
Yeah, so we're going to see now what's happening with those 2, 3 and 4 places as we move through these rounds. But you would expect the Academy team in the N2 to start teasing a gap open between them. Next up, we've got the N1 category and the first team in, Air Max Asper Maubeuge.
And I'd love to give you the scores for the first round, but unfortunately they've only scored 2 rounds, the judges. So the only scores we have are Les Quatre Crétins Clermont on 18 points and Air Max Asper Maubeuge on 19 points. For the other 22 teams, we have sans idée, no idea.
Yeah, there's a lot to get through for the judges there this morning to get all those scores online, but they're doing a good job with it.
It's going to be a heavy morning for the judges. It's hard because there's 3 FS events here and only 1 dynamic, so they don't have much chance for a break. So here we've got 4-way N2, 4-way N1. The judges have just got to crack on. They'll be ready for coffee come lunchtime, I'm sure.
24 teams in this top category now for you. Second team in, Les Quatre Crétins Clermont, are in the door, prepared, and their time starts.
And the round here, round 2, is LHO1. So you see we've got 3 randoms. That's the letters. So that's going to be quite quick between those points. And the 1, it's a block. You can see them building it now. That's the snowflake.
Yeah.
Turn the pieces 360 and re-dop. A good team can do the 1 quite quickly. This could be potentially the fastest round of the meet, Regan, because it's the only one with 3 randoms.
Yeah, we were looking at this a little bit yesterday, weren't we? Thinking where there might be an opportunity to get some speed going.
And I think this is it. Of course, we're at the lower end of the
draw.
N1 at the moment, so these teams are making a little bit harder work of it. They're making it take a little bit longer. But I think when we get up the top end, 10 and in, etc., I think we're going to see some really good scores on this round. You see they're getting, unfortunately, too much height difference in their 1. You don't really need the height difference in the 1. You can turn these pieces without doing the vertical, but if they do the vertical like that, then making such a big height difference, you're just sort of building in a lot of extra work for yourself. There they've got less height difference. If they kept going another minute, I think they'd have that block about right.
Next up, Team 404B Air Force. We are live to the world on Facebook. People are watching all over. Give us a shout out on the live stream. Let us know who you are and what you're doing. We've got Patrick Passé has joined us on the live stream. Good morning, Patrick.
Patrick Pass. You can't call him Passé.
I just did.
Hello, Patrick. How are you? I miss you, my friend. Patrick, of course, organising some beautiful events. First person in the world to build a 100-way out-facing diamond. Those beautiful formations of crystal. He's also going to be in Ukraine this year, jumping the giant Antonov. He's got, we don't know what it is, but it's the Antonov Challenge. I'm going to be doing that as my relaxing event after we've done the European women's records. A great organizer with Milko Hodgkinson from the UK and Dieter Kirsch from Germany.
And the Air Force finish their action and move out through the door.
Next. Now we have Cyberlab, sorry.
Yes. Team 405 Cyberlab round 2 French Indoor Championships here at Wimby.
So another Wemby coach team here. We see the blue suit indicative of this world champion magic. little bit of a rival there. Nicer move on the one. And that bow's looking quite wide at the back for the tail. Here it comes now, the bow. And although it's 3 randoms, they don't go particularly nicely together. You know, sometimes you get 3 randoms that you can virtually stay still and change the position of your arms, but it's not a particularly friendly 3 random sequence. It's a nice count there, the guy counting in the 3-way and just following in and making it a 4. Not all teams will launch a 4. Depends on your experience, what you feel will work for you. They're flying efficiently. They're going to get a good score for this level of team here. Very big cheat on that one. You can see here, look how cheated the top piece is. It's virtually 90 degrees going over the top. I love the way this sport changes all the time. When I was doing 4-way, you were taught never to fly a bent cat because you couldn't fly them properly that way. You needed to keep it straight. Now everybody's flying them bent because it's more efficient.
Yeah. Always evolving. Evolution of the sport.
So next up is this herbivore. No, this is no limits. No. There's no limits. Team from Russia. They're very capable, coached by Oleg. They got a real good standard. They can be brilliant in competition, or they can have a meltdown. Talking to Sergey yesterday, he was sort of saying it can go 1 or 2 ways. It looks like it's going a good way for them today. That's great ones they're doing.
You can read a lot about the concentration and the excitement levels in the faces of the competitors, especially from where we are, Leslie. You can get a good glimpse inside those visors and you can see whether people feel relaxed or whether they feel like they're trying to catch up all the time. It makes a big difference to the performance.
Totally. And how did you feel No Limits looked there?
They looked calm.
I agree.
The faces looked relaxed. The eyes weren't wide. You can really tell a lot about somebody when they're flying by watching their face.
Yes, if they feel a little behind the curve, the eyes start to go a bit starey panic.
Yeah. Now watch this team now. Watch this for a masterclass, the 4-way.
So this is the Academy. Their juniors, of course, are winning in the N2.
Was there a bit of a fumble grip on the back there of that block, Leslie? I don't know.
You saw it? I didn't, Regan. They're certainly going for it with their keys. Those hands coming on and off the grips.
The point you picked up on earlier, Leslie, about teams get the individual flying skills going, but having that skill of being off the grips, that comes just with practice and with experience. This team have got it. You know, their grip management looks like a full-time professional team.
It does, and you can tell that coaching is coming through. And how you get that is by being aware of where's the last grip likely to be.
Yeah.
It's not likely to be here, so if everyone's looking for that last grip, of course it may be elsewhere, but generally you can say this is where the last grip's going to be.
But your mind naturally wants to keep that grip as well. It's another level, isn't it, to know to get off.
Yes, we call them electric shock grips.
Yeah.
So you got a shock.
Yeah.
Because if you did get a shock, you'd take your hand off there pretty quickly,
That's
wouldn't
right.
you? And these guys are ramping the pace up. Long Cats Para 71.
Good morning to a few of the people watching here. Gary Smith, great commentary and coverage, says thank you very much. Thanks, Gary. Elliot is watching as well from the Dynamic 2-way. Morning, Elliot. And our good friend Kira Paul is watching as well. He's down in Japan at the moment. Good morning, Kira. It's good to have you watching the live stream.
Sorry, there's no freestyle for you to watch, Kira. Apparently there were 4 entrants, but a couple of guys cancelled, so unfortunately no freestyle this year, which is a shame because last year it was beautiful.
Yeah, there's 7 last year, didn't they?
Di Matteo, who's doing so well with the ninjas, he was flying freestyle here last year, beautiful flyer. So we've got the Wemby Expendables. I'm not quite sure why they're expendable, but...
So just we're talking about those grips a minute ago, and you can see how they're flying nice, it's good solid skydiving, but the grip, it's just on and held for a fraction before the move.
Absolutely right, Regan. Yes, if you compare them, as you were saying, with the academy earlier on, then they're going to take a couple of points off these guys just by the speed at which they remove their hands from the grips and go to the next point. Of course, it helps being young. Your reaction times are quick.
Absolutely.
Other than that, if you're an old dog like me, it's just years and years of training you're relying on.
Like us, Leslie.
You're supposed to say you're not an old dog, Regan, not like us.
I'll make a note for the afternoon sessions.
Yeah. So speaking of old dogs, we got the Monaco Skydiving team here with an old dog and the young pup in there, Kieran.
It's a really interesting backstory with this team. There were a lot of champions from the 90s of 8-way and 4-way who were off for quite a few years, and then they decided to come back under the guise of Monaco for one of the Dubai meets. I think it was 2010 or 2011, I'm not exactly sure which one it was, but they were suddenly back on the scene with the matching red suits as an 8-way team.
Yes, of course they've done the Body Flight World Challenge for years in their Marlboro red suits, but yes, they came out there with their red suits. They did really, really well. And they nearly got a medal, and the Dubai team pipped them at the last minute.
Yes.
And what great sports those guys were. They came into the Dubai tent and all shook hands with every one of the Dubai team, you know, just as a private thing. And I know those guys were blown away because, like you have your heroes in this sport, and they'd beaten their heroes, and in fact their heroes had then come in and shaken hands meant a lot to them.
Yeah.
You know, Jeff and Frank have been jumping together since the 80s.
Over 20,000 jumps, Jeff. Yes.
And still with the passion and love of the sport.
Yes. He's a great singer, good musician.
Is he?
Yes. Artistic gentleman, Jeff is indeed.
So have we got Les Affranchis in there now?
The fly zone, yeah.
The Affranchis, this fly zone. Very capable team. They've been around quite a few years as well. We've seen them on the international scene.
Right, so a bit of a reaction there.
Doesn't look...
Yeah, we touched this morning, didn't we, on the team dynamics? You know, you've got 4 people thrown together. I remember my first 4-way team, I had a big problem with my temperament, with having to deal with 3 other people and trying to find that level. Gareth Smith really helped me as a coach, you know, going beyond just showing me how to make the moves. He really worked on the team dynamic in like a psychological element to it.
I would say 2/3 of what a coach does is about mental training, is about getting the teams work together. I think only 1/3 is technical. There's only so much technical, but really the whole thing is teamwork. It's about, you don't want to be going in there and trying to do your turns faster than anybody else. You want to be trying to get the whole team to perform as fast as it can.
Yeah.
And the challenge as a coach is to get the team all working for the good of the team, getting the guy who is ace at the turns just to slow down a fraction, but inspire the other team members to lift their turns, but not try and be the fastest person on the team, because that doesn't do any good. You're only as fast as the slowest person.
It's a very intricate puzzle and game, isn't it? Like I'm sure a lot of team sports are, but we are of our unique perspective with being skydivers and flyers of how that actually works. When you put, you know, just to diverge a little bit from 4-way, that's one challenge. As you know, with 8-way and 16-way teams, it becomes exponential when you've got all these other ideas and minds and egos involved.
Yes, if you start dirt diving an 8-way round, there are so many possibilities of ways that you could do it, and if everybody just has their say, it can just turn into an argument very quickly.
Especially when you've got a lot of talent as well.
Yes, and talent means opinionated people.
Yes.
You know, confident competitors means that they're convinced that they're right. And then you have coach steps in and says, this is the way we're doing it. He can shortcut you probably 45 minutes of grumpiness on that round, And really, the mechanics of the puzzle aren't so important as the fact that you all agree that that's the best way to do it, and you're buying into that. That you're not dirt driving it thinking, I know we should have turned these left instead of right. You know, you don't want any doubt in your mind whatsoever when you walk in the puzzle. This is the way we're doing it. This is the team commitment. It might not be the way I personally thought was best, but it's the best way for the team, and I'm going to buy into it 100%.
Have you come across people over your career who are incredible flyers who've just realised that they cannot work as a team and they've had to make their way out of it?
That's happening constantly, all around. Oh, here's Tenanine. Sorry, just quite excited to see what they do in this round because it could be fast. Oh, you see them just freezing that point there. They got a little bit rushy, and they just froze that there just to reset the team.
Yeah.
Going very nicely on these ones. And they've got a real stop in those moves, haven't they? All the grips are coming off at the same time, but you can see them freezing that point just momentarily. I think this probably comes from the fact they haven't flown together since the wind game, so they're just making really sure they've got those points. Yeah, and you can feel the momentum building up through this dive. Each page was getting faster and faster, but it came with that solid, this is the point, this is the point, this is the point.
It's not the traditional French way of flying.
No. The French way of flying is to take the momentum of one point into the next.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because they got Martial there as coach and Marco as coach.
Yes. Again, that shows the experience and the skill of knowing what level or what technique to use with this team at that moment in time.
And you were just speaking about the psychological angle. I know they've, at the Wind Games, last year they brought in a head coach, Jean-Claude I think his name was. He's a sports psychologist. He's done a lot of work with the French 8-way teams, and he really helped Moulet and Mathieu in their competition headspace. Because it's a classic. As a team, you do really well in competition, you do really well in training. You know if you're a serious, seasoned competitor, you know how long your block moves should take, you know roughly how much you should score, and you start getting a figure in your head before you enter the tunnel, which is the kiss of death. You don't want to be looking at the result, you want to be getting in there and just flying in the now moment, so you're totally released from any outcome, from any score.
Right.
And I know he did a tremendous, Moulet said it was super helpful. It made a massive amount of difference. And that's all mental. It's not as though their block techniques suddenly got any better. They just started working better as a team, and in particular, coping with the stress of competition and realizing, one of the key things to performing in competition is just to enjoy it.
Yes.
And it can be easy to be very tense and think, oh, the eyes of the world are watching, especially now when it's going out on the live stream. Worldwide, you can know that, but if you don't enjoy your competition, then you're wasting your own money. What did you spend that money training for, and what did you spend that entry money for?
Yes.
But so many teams do it. It's like, it's so important. This is your meet, enjoy it, enjoy every second. That doesn't mean that you don't care about the performance. It in fact helps you to perform better, but just remembering the sheer fun of getting into the tunnel with your friends and your teammates and trying to do the best that you can.
I was remember Pete Allen saying in one of our training camps, remember guys, this is your hobby.
Yes, we're not curing cancer here.
Yeah, I think that might be exact words.
Yeah, I do remember with one 8-way team that I did, we had a meet, and we had one day where we went from being equal with the top place team to being on the bottom of the scoreboard. And I remember we had a team meeting that evening, and I mean, I couldn't honestly believe it. We were in this caravan, and I'm on a team with all guys, and some of them were virtually crying, and I'm like, guys, this is numbers on a scoreboard.
Yeah.
You might think it's a bad day, but this is skydiving. We've all had days whereby somebody goes home from the drop zone injured or worse, and we don't know what's happened. That's a bad day at the drop zone. Numbers on the scoreboard, at the end of the day, that's all it is. It really doesn't matter. Yes, we want to do as well as we can, but let's keep this all in proportion.
Wise words from Leslie Gale. Odin, Team 418, making their way out of the tunnel. Next up,
Hurricane Factory Extremo.
Now this is going to be quite an interesting round 2 for them. What can they make of this?
We're now into the top 6 teams. Oh, a nice start, very delicate random moves, lovely 1 block move. They've got a finesse about them. Look at them sprinting through that random sequence. Very deliberate, small moves, very on and off the grips at the same time.
Yeah.
Random, 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 and then into the rhythm of the 1. Random sprint, bum, 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 and back to the 1. Ooh, a little bit lumbery there, but still keeping the precision on that random. This is where it's about, this jump. This is where they're going to score the points.
Yeah.
There's only 1 block move in that. And we're now into the top 5 in the competition.
Hello.
Amnesia,
Hello.
also
Can we move, please,
from
mate?
Italy,
For the
just
studio,
getting
we
into
cannot see.
position in the antechamber and about to enter the tunnel. And it's a tidy start for Amnesia. And it's all about outside centers move back into the bow, into the H. See that lovely turn from green. Coming out nicely on grips. And it's a good round here from Amnesia. Very nicely making up the height difference that they're getting on that 1.
Wow, great stuff from Amnesia. Okay. Challenge to watch. How did they finish off on that round 1? Did we get any scores yet for them, Leslie? I know
When I
the judges
last
have...
looked, we didn't have many scores, but I will check it out. Ooh, boom!
all in there.
Not all of them. We don't have any of the top teams in.
Gavoshi's Wimby next up. Again, making use of this bigger tunnel, Leslie, with this block.
They are big guys. I almost have to stand on a box when I interview them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that 1 can be challenging in a smaller tunnel. But with a massive 16-foot diameter facility here and the lovely airflow, it's no problem in Wembley, Leo.
It's a 17-foot tunnel, isn't it?
A 17 feet.
Yeah. Yeah, currently the biggest available. There's a few 17-foot tunnels, but there's none bigger than that working right now.
So someone was saying there was a fire at the Abu Dhabi tunnel that was under construction, the 32-footer?
I don't know anything about that, no.
Well, we wouldn't want to spend rumours now, would we?
Qatar Tigers, now one of them had looked like a cramp in his leg as he was making his way out on the previous
Well, he doesn't
round.
look cramped now. They're going for it. Coached by Gary Smith. And they are eating up that random sequence. You almost
Absolutely.
can't see outside centers. Big move back to that H. And
All
a
right.
lovely round. Very delicate touch these guys have got. Flying with a lot of precision.
Did we get their score yet from the previous round?
Not unless it suddenly appeared as if by magic. What had happened was they'd scored everyone apart from the top 5 teams. So I didn't read the scores out.
Not yet, no, still waiting for
I
those
mean, we
to
will
come
say
through.
Legion Wemby can feel happy at being at the top of the scoreboard at the moment with 25.
Yes.
And then Academy with 24, but that's not going to stay. We are now into the creme de la creme. This is the French fillies. French national team. Beautiful skydive on and off grips with that, as though one mind, not a fumble in sight. Very little height difference on their 1, just smoothing back to a close, perfectly on level. And they really have a great energy, this team. All of the French teams fly with a sense of urgency, purpose. We're not hanging around here.
Yeah, great performance.
We're like that. And just about to end round 2 of the French Indoor Championships. Real flies they on, the French national team.
Interesting exit technique here, really stretching out into the airflow. Ready, set, go. They are in and off.
Coached by Mathieu Bernier, 4 and 8-weight champion, and one of only a few people in the world, and him and his brother, to do that at the same world meet. They are fast and furious. Real fly really cheated on that one. Look, they're almost reaching back to build that center, which has the outside so much closer at the start. Interesting technique. And again, very little height difference in the one. The centers are almost staying level. It's just the outsides are popping over.
Wow. What do you think between those two, between the girls and the real fly Sion, Leslie? I mean, I've put my hat on the girls right now.
I wouldn't like to call it.
Well, that's round 2 of the 4-way in the top category, the A category and the double A category, or the N1 and N2 as it's called here in France. And we're going direct into round 3 here on the Saturday morning for the French Indoor Championships here at Lille, Wimby 2018. And first up, watch your PCP, Aaron. What's the draw on this one, on the 4-way triple A? Here it is.
The draw is A1320, so that's a random A.
Yeah, in 2 blocks.
A unipod, 13 spinner, and 20 Piper Viber. That's a hard block as well. I'm surprised this is in the N2 pool, to be honest. There, that's the 13. A, and now this is the Piper Viber. So it's a very hard job. The center's got to turn that piece backwards.
Yeah.
Point has a difficult job and then has to do a blind turn at the bottom. And tail has to try and hook the leg of that center piece as it comes around. It's a very technical block.
Yeah, it's a tricky
So yeah,
one.
oh, we've got more limping coming out of the tunnel. Could that be another bit of cramp going on?
Could be, couldn't it?
Of course, the wind, the airflow is coming from outside, I believe. Is this a recirculating tunnel, or is it I'm just wondering if the air is particularly cold this morning. You know, you do get that in I know in Sky Venture in Arizona, when it's cold, you are really freezing in the tunnel, which always seems ridiculous when outside it's the Arizona heat.
But all those spinny moves are really going to get those muscles going. There's a good opportunity for cramping.
Indeed, and they put them all in the one dive there. If you're in the center,
yeah. Wow.
you spin with a compress and spin with a side body.
Yes. Very good morning to everybody. Just joined us on the live stream. Kate and Nigel and Steph and Anne and Stella and Gundel and everybody else who's joined us watching now live throughout the world. Very good morning to you. We're in the studio here with Leslie and me all morning till 12:30 for a 1 hour break, and then we're back with the afternoon sessions with the 8-way and the 2-way dynamic. Oh, a bit of a crash.
Oh, we can't do that. We know we can't reach up for grips which are 2 feet above us, but no, I'm sorry for laughing, but he really took that to the absolute limit. Reached up, couldn't get them, and reached up just that little bit more just to tip himself completely vertical and onto his back. But this is the N2s. This is inexperienced people throwing teams together for the competition. Nice count there. We can hear some clapping going on behind us, so I guess they're judging the N1. I'll see if there's any more scores coming through while we watch Les Frères de Côte.
Yeah, behind us, just behind the studio here in the tunnel, there's one of the big screens with the live judging taking place. So everybody here, it's a full house already this morning, is watching the action being scored from the previous round as this round's going on in front of our face. Round 3 now of the 4-way N2 category.
I'll just remind you what the scoreboard looks like in your N2, which is what we're looking at at the moment. In 5th place, we got Wachuranayan Ospuma Berge with 10 points after round 1. No scores in for yet round 2. In 4th place, we got Fly Pinot with 12 points. In 3rd point for Italy is One Shot with 13 points. In 2nd place is Dar Wings with 14 points. And at the top of the leaderboard, Ericart Academy for France with 16 points. But of course, they're just the scores for round 1. We haven't had the scores for round 2 in yet, so their positions could in fact be different. But that's as far as we can see on the scoreboard.
And your overnight leaderboard on the 8-way and the 2-way dynamic: 3rd place Qatar Falcons, 2nd place Wimby Girls, and the 1st place Wimby Elders in the 8-way. And in the 2-way dynamic, 2-way 3rd place Way 2 dynamic, 2nd place Ice Mountain, 1st place Windor Ninjas, with still action to come after the lunchtime break. But right now, all eyes on round 3 of the 4-way N2 category. Out the door go Skylims, and now Fly Panos, is it?
Pinot, I don't know. But they're in 4th place at the moment.
Pano, Fly Pano.
They scored 12 points in the first one.
Let's see what they can do here.
Really making sure they've got that first point, not just taking it for granted, getting it in and getting settled before they do the block move, which is great. Build a nice random and you'll have a nice block move. Good job there on that challenging 20.
Very good.
It is a pig of a block. So you have this thing again where the centerpiece wants to fall at a different rate from the outsides, which you could see there, so you're correcting heights all the time. Both challenging blocks for that. The centerpiece again wants to fall at a different rate from the outsides.
Really looking like a team, Leslie. They're really working all together. I was just going to say, keeping the energy level and not getting excited and carried away. That's what seems to be working for them there.
Yeah, I think that last bit was a little bit out of time,
yeah.
So it would probably have been okay, but absolutely agree with you.
So that performance there we just saw could stand them in good stead as we move through the competition.
Yes, if they can hold it together, you know, consistency always wins, always pays. Consistency, working as a team, good communication. Now that, I'm not quite sure that was totally a legal grip there. She started off with a derriere, but then changed it to some grips. And this is hard here, you see.
Yeah.
You've got this point, you've got to stick it on that center person without landing on them. It's very challenging. And it's good to see the N1s, because when you're seeing experienced teams, they make it look so easy that you forget actually just how difficult some of these blocks are.
Yep. Time out there. They were lucky with backing up there with that single piece.
Yes, and then just trying to come up and out face into a grip. You know, it's always easier to do that if you're coming down. Hard block there.
How, 3 or 2 or?
So coming up, I believe we have team One Shot from Italy. These were the guys I was saying could do with a bit more wind speed, and as if to prove it, tails struggling down there, bottom feeding, not able to get back on without a struggle. We're doing a nice job of that 20. Not a terribly confident team here, but just keeping moving. So that's One Shot from Italy. Coming up next, team 508, which is actually team 47 LCA. This is with Patrick Sauvage, who is 70 years old, flying with a big smile. when they're really, really struggling with that 20. And they got a bit of confusion, a lot of confusion going on. That's the problem while you're in there, the clock is ticking, and if you've got a bit of dissonance, it's hard to reset all 4 team members. And we now have Watura Noyen, Asbu Moberge entering the tunnel. They're in 5th place after round 1 with 10 points.
Six rounds of 4-way for us today here this morning. 6 rounds of 4-way for us today here this morning in the N2 and N1 categories. Then we're going to take a 1-hour lunchtime break, and then we're back with the 8-way and the dynamic 2-way. Joining us in the studio very shortly is going to be a great champion of French skydiving, Erwan's going to be here in the studio as well, Leslie, joining us for some commentary.
Fantastic, very seasoned competitor.
Next up, Aero Kart Academy 3. Just have a look at their experience now. That's going to lead into this quite tricky round. We saw the other Academy team in the N1 on round 2 a few moments ago with a stunning performance. And they'll be up next once we get into the next category.
And Erica Academy, of course, in the lead after round 1 with 16 points, so beating all of the grown-ups.
So it's going to be a story to start developing now, whether they are going to start moving away from the rest of the pack, that 2-point lead after the first round. As we get their second round scored, what's it going to do? What difference is it going to make? And are they going to start just moving away from the rest of the pack? Or are one of these other teams going to stay with them?
And we're starting now the senior round, so that's the...
No, we've got 2 or 3 more teams yet here in the N2.
My apologies.
Tobias and Horst de France. And then after that, Les Épreuves and then the Darwings.
Sorry, I saw Academy, and because they're leading, I thought they would be last because normally they get the seeding right, but that just shows how well these kids are doing.
Yeah, indeed it does.
And we now have the scores in for the first round of senior. Would you like to know the scores on the doors, Regan?
Yes, please. I really would like to see that.
Well, going from in equal 4th position. Well,
Yeah.
let's start with equal 6th. We have 4 teams. This is in the seniors. 4 teams on equal 6, which is Ericot Academy.
This is after 1 round, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
Amnesia, Espoir Wemby, and Hurricane Factory Extremo all on 24
Yeah.
points. Then 1 point ahead, Gavroche Wemby and Legion Wemby on 25. Then, wow, what have we got at the top? You said, could we call it between Real Fly Zayon and the French ladies?
And the Qatar Tigers.
Well, actually, there's not a point between them or the Tigers. They are all sitting, this is only after 1 round, but they all have 29 points after 1 round. So it could barely be closer between the medal places. Really.
Yeah, all at the top. It's a round to throw away. They have to start again on round 2, which we've just done. We're on to round 3 very shortly. Oh, bit of a tumble and a crash at the end there, just out of time from the final team there in the N2 category, the Darwins.
Darwins, who of course are in a medal position at the moment.
So Darwin's going in now, actually, in they go. This is the final team in the N2, and then we're into the top category.
So Darwins are second at the moment after, well, they were second after one round, but scores are starting to come in for round 2, but we don't have the complete lineup yet. As soon as we get those scores, we will let you know. But this is Darwins in contention for a medal at the moment and doing a good, solid round. And that's it. That concludes round 3 for the N2s at the French Indoor Championships. We're going to go into round 3 of the seniors, and the draw is 3-19F. Now the 3 swaps outside centre and point. That's a surf turf, but it is possible to get it back to get a repeater with a bit of a swing move to the 19. So I think we'll see some teams doing a swing move to get a repeater out of the dive, and maybe the top teams will take the non-repeater for the slightly faster move. So we could be seeing some different techniques going on here.
So Air Max Asper Maubeuge taking round 3 into the start.
So that's the 19 there, the F. And the 3.
Right, out the door they go. What do you think? Initial impressions of this draw, Leslie? Where's the red flags going to be here in this 319F? Where's the area that the teams are going to be watching
Well, if
out?
they're going to take the swing move from the bottom of the 3 to the 19, then everybody needs to execute that swing move, not just leave point and outside centre to sort of deal with it on their own. If they're going to take it straight up, then on the 3, the centre, the guy doing the big 540 turn needs to really do it in place and do it fast, and the other 3 need to be very precise around him. You can make a meal of the 3 block. Quite often it looks as though the 3 piece has done their move and the other person is still spinning, but when you watch the real top teams, you know, when we see the Tigers do it, you're going to barely see any difference in the move. It's one of those showy blocks. It's a nice move to do when you get it right, because you whiz this 540 and then come out on grips. But don't get too concerned for the speed of your 540 that you fluff the grips. It's not really about the speed of the turn. It's about coming out in the right place.
Right.
I wonder if Martial's doing the turn. It is a Jaguar move. You know, they call him Le Jaguar from his days of old. And I was just remembering a story Thomas told me. You know, Thomas, the owner of one of the owners of the tunnel here. Yeah. About when him and Martial were both flying with they were both kind of the player coach, if you like, with a lower experienced French team. They were up against each other, and that's right. Thomas was on the team with Martial, and the other team had been winding him up in the bar, and they'd been saying, Martial, it will be the return of the Jaguar on the 3, and they wound Martial up so much that when he went into this turn, Thomas said he knew there was something was going to happen. He could see from the expression in his face. You were just saying about reading people's expressions. Yes. He turned so fast he went on his back like it's hurt him. Wow. So it was from hero to zero, Le Jaguar to Le Tortoise. And the other team won the meet. Because that's all part of it as well. We were talking before about it's keeping your nerve together under competition. Yeah. You know, keeping the team spirit together, but also, you know, all part of it is trying to psych out the other teams. It's a bit of a game. You're having a bit of a laugh at it, but don't let them get you. Yes. So this is a BE Air Force.
Nice turns at the front there. What's the how's their scores on the
The scores
board?
on the doors, just checking.
Not much on there yet, no? From just round 1 so far.
We have round 1 and 1 score.